Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, my rookies. Today we're gonna talk about the difference in between laptop and desktop computers and what's your best fit. Alright, so yeah, let's talk about what device fits you the best. Therefore, please always keep those three questions back in your mind. First of all, what is your budget? What are you actually planning on spending on this new device? Secondly, are you using this device mobile or only stationary? And third, what performance do you need for your device? What are you using this device for? But before we go into detail on the differences, let's first of all talk about common ground. Obviously, both of them are computing devices designed for similar tasks, but each of them can perform those tasks better or worse. So, common ground, first of all, both are designed for keyboard and mouse input. Obviously, there are exceptions to this rule, in particular with laptop computers that sometimes even do have a touch screen for input, or you can also use pen input. But in general, the devices we are going to talk about are designed for mouse and keyboard input only. So, secondly, we do have three main operating systems that are used in both laptop and desktop computers. The most popular one is Windows. Windows is an operating system produced and developed by the Microsoft Corporation. Due to its history and ease of use, it's currently the #1 operating system for both laptop and desktop computers. And it's usually already shipped with your computer when you purchase a new device. Secondly, we do have macOS. macOS is a proprietary operating system manufactured and developed by Apple Inc. So the main key difference in between Windows and macOS is that macOS usually is bound to the device that you buy. So you cannot purchase a separate license for macOS, but instead you are forced to use the device that it comes with. In this case, usually those are MacBooks or iMacs. Last but not least, we do have Linux. Linux might be unknown to most of you because it's usually not used as a client operating system, but instead in the server environment. The main advantage with Linux operating system is that they are usually developed as an open source project, and that means that usually security updates are provided on a pretty regular pattern, and also the support lifetime is quite long compared to other operating systems such as Windows XP or Windows 7. And last but not least, Linux has the highest amount of customization abilities. That means that you can modify the operating system to fit your needs. So that means that it's usually used by prosumers and developers. And by the way, a more detailed information on the differences in those operating systems can be found in the video description below, so just feel free to have a look on it. And the last common ground thing they both have is a huge variety of size and performance. Basically, modern computers, both laptops and desktop computers, are divided into three different categories. First of all, we do have the consumer category. Those are your day-to-day users that are only doing light load tasks. Next, we do have the prosumers. Prosumers are people that are using their device for more sophisticated tasks like gaming or light video editing, but are usually only doing this on a hobby basis, therefore they do not need a professional device. And this also leads us to the third group, and those are the professionals. They usually purchase the most sophisticated devices because they are using those to create their income. And therefore it's really important for them to have a reliable, performant device. Alright then, so now that we talked about common ground, let's have a short look on what a desktop computer is. First of all, what do you need to purchase? Obviously, a desktop computer has several components that need to be purchased separately. First of all, you need a computer. That's obvious. Next, you need a device to display the output that a computer creates. Usually this is a monitor, but also a TV could be used for this purpose. And also, as I just mentioned in the previous slide, a keyboard and a mouse as input devices would be really helpful. Optional, purchasing speakers for media consumption would be also really helpful. So, what are now the specific advantages of purchasing a desktop computer? First of all, we do have the customization ability. That means, as we just saw, you decide on what peripherals you want to buy. Furthermore, not only the peripherals can be customized, but also the internal components. For example, you want to play video games on your PC? Just simply go ahead, buy a video card and plug it into your PC. There you go. And our last point is the performance. This is really important. Due to the bigger size, desktop computers are usually better in terms of heat dissipation than laptops are. This then comes in advantage of performance, which means in the end that Desktop computers usually have a better bang for the buck or performance per dollar spent than laptops do have. So now the last question that remains is on what this translates into a real-world scenario. Therefore, I just picked up 3 different price ranges. All of them are obviously estimations in which you can expect what quality to get. So first of all, we do have the low-end category, and obviously those are the least powerful PCs and also the least desirables. But the advantage is that they are really cheap. So the range on this types of device goes between 300 to 500 bucks if you purchase them new. Also, please make the note that if you purchase a complete setup, it's usually more expensive than purchasing everything separately and putting it together yourself. Next, we go to medium price range. This goes in between 500 bucks and 1000. In this price range, you can expect your PC to be able to perform all tasks that are needed during your day-to-day life. Even light gaming and light video editing is possible with those kinds of devices. But if you want to have the highest possible performance, especially with heavy new modern title games or heavy video editing and development, you need to switch to a high-end machine, which usually starts above $1,000. A list of good value devices for each of those price ranges can be found in the video description below. Please note that I'm not getting paid for recommending those devices, and this list might not be relevant in the future due to the recent changes in development of computer technology. Alright, so now that we learned on what desktop computers provide, let's switch over to laptop computers. First of all, what do you need to purchase? It's quite easy. A laptop is an all-in-one device. You just go ahead, purchase the laptops, and you are ready to go. Next, the big advantage of purchasing a laptop in comparison to a desktop computer is that you can be mobile. That means that due to its compact size and it having a battery built in, you can go ahead and use it on the fly whenever you're not at home. But the small all-in-one design comes with a disadvantage. The main is that it has not the big performance as desktop computers have, due to it not being able to dissolve the heat as good as they are. Furthermore, laptops, since they are an all-in-one device, are usually way more expensive than comparable desktop computers. Therefore, do always expect to pay a premium when you want to purchase a laptop in comparison to a desktop computer. And this then also leads us to the estimated price range on what you need to expect to pay on which class of device. First of all, again, we do have low-end devices. There you need to expect to pay in between 400 and 600 bucks and always need to make some downturns, such as build quality or performance. Please note that it is really important in case of a laptop that the build quality is acceptable, since you're gonna move the device around quite a lot in comparison to a desktop computer. Medium-end devices do usually cost in between 600 and 1100 bucks. For most consumers, this class of device will be totally sufficient for their day-to-day life. And if you now want to get even more performance or sleeker design or more compactability, then you need to switch over to the high-end class devices, which start from $1,100 upwards. But in general, all types of all classes of devices do come with their own downturns. Either it is the performance that they do provide, or the size in terms of weight and dimensions, or they do have a bad build quality. And again, if you're interested to see what devices I do recommend, I've put a few samples for each of those categories down in the video description below. Okay, so before we come to our conclusion on what device you should purchase, let's have a quick look on the use cases for desktop and laptop computers. First of all, let's start with laptops. Laptops shall be used whenever you're mobile or planning to be mobile with the device. Their main task consists of document editing, browsing, and media consumption. And they shall be used whenever limited space is only available, so whenever you don't have such a big room where you can place a stationary device. In comparison to that, desktop computers are only intended for stationary use, and they are only moved around very occasionally, for example when you move. In terms of use cases, desktop computers are in general better in every task where heavy computing is expected, such as video games, photo and video editing, or research and development tasks. And last but not least, whenever you want to customize your setup, then also desktop computers are way better than laptops. But please don't take me wrong, both laptops and desktop computers can perform the same tasks, but each have their strengths and weaknesses, similar to deciding on whether to buy a sports car or buying a minivan. But in the conclusion, the question still remains, what should I buy? And this is pretty much your own decision, depending on your needs. So I usually would ask myself those 4 questions. First of all, what is my budget? What am I willing to spend? Second of all, what do I use this device for? Am I only doing light media consumption and text editing, or am I also gonna play on this device? Third, how do I want to use this device? So am I only using it stationary, or am I gonna take it with me, for example, to university or to work? And last but not least, what performance do I actually need? And to answer this question, it is really important to understand on what you're using this device for. And after you've answered those kind of questions for yourself, you then can take brand preference and design into a consideration on what device to purchase. And that's basically it. Just to make it easier for you to find good value devices, I've concluded a list of good value devices in the video description below. Please note that this is based on personal opinion and I do not get paid to recommend them. Alright then my rookies, that's it for this time. I hope you were able to learn something new with this video. And if you enjoyed it, as always, please give me a thumbs up for the YouTube algorithm. And also, if you got a topic that you want me to cover in the next video, then feel free to leave a comment below. Thanks in advance and stay fresh.